Hey out there, it's Michael V. Moore, aka Mr. Travel Fitness. Today I want to share one of my many stories, and especially today, I definitely want to talk about something that always bothers me and that a lot of people don't know about. So please watch, please don't laugh, please don't make fun of, because I'm pretty sure that a lot of you out there can relate to my story, so to speak. So it all started when I was just a little boy. So for those who don't know much about me, I am a fitness coach. So I call myself Mr. Travel Fitness. I help travel professionals stay in shape, whether they're on the road or at home in companies and all that good stuff. But one of the stories I kind of want to share is before all that, before I became this working dude, before I became an international business developer, before I even had my engineering degree, before I even graduated high school. I want to go back all the way to, my elementary school years going into my middle school years. And so for me, when I was very young, I was very skinny. I was extremely skinny. And I always, love my action heroes. And when you're a little boy, you always get the action heroes, whether it was G.I. Joe or especially the He-Man. Now, if you guys remember how the He-Man toys looks back in the day, they were like ripped. They had like all these big arm, muscular guys. Their abs were like six pack. Just perfect bodies, and the male, female, it didn't matter. All these action heroes always had these perfect bodies. And me, I always wonder what I would look like if I ever looked like that. And so I used to always play with the toys, watch the cartoons, and you get that image that, hey, you maybe want to look like one of these people one of these days. And so that carried on in my mind as I got into comic books, especially. So I'm a big comic book person. Love Marvel comics, love DC comics when it comes towards the comic books and the animated programs. I'm not a fan of the movie so far. That's another story for another day. But just seeing those images, right? You see these athletic type folks, you see these chiseled bodies, and it's like, man, I wonder if I could look like that one day. And so I always wanted to look like that. And then all of a sudden in my middle school years, I went from being this skinny kid that could eat junk food. Like I used to eat nothing but chips. I really had a bad eating habits when I was very young. Didn't realize it, but I used to just eat junk food pretty much all the time. And when I was going through my middle school years, I was going through, what typical, teenagers or preteens going into teenagers go through, you go through puberty. So all of a sudden I gained a lot of weight. And when I say I gained a lot of weight, I mean, I was very chubby. A lot of people don't believe me when I tell them just how chubby I was until I show them pictures. And even my family members, some of my family members don't even remember me being that chubby. And I have to go back in the books and be like, hey, let's look at these photos. And I have proof that, yes, I was a very chubby kid. And so I always had that image of myself being very chubby, being very chubby, being very chubby. And so I used to be embarrassed to like show my skin. So you go to, the swimming pool, I would never take my shirt off or anything like that. I was too embarrassed. I didn't want people to think of me like that. And so as I got older and I got tall, I never really got that body I always wanted. So I still read the comic books. I still love the cartoons, the action heroes, and all that stuff, and I always still want to look like them. So by the time I got in my college years, for instance, I had a roommate. And I hope he watches this because a lot of people remember that roommate. So and he would love. I'll give him a shout out. So William Springfield, wherever you are, I know when you watch this video, you're gonna have a laugh on your face. So he was my college roommate, and he had a athletic body. And when I say he had an athletic body, I mean literally my roommate used to walk around our dorm room in the cafeteria with no shirt on because he loved his physique so much. So it used to crack me up. That's a story for another time. But he had a body that developed from him being an athlete. So he was a track and field athlete star. And so I remember one day me and him were talking, because we shared a dorm room together, and we were getting dressed and just having a casual conversation. And all he just said to me basically was like, you know what, Michael, if you just worked out, you would pretty much have a nice body, pretty much. He's like, that's all you gotta do. You gotta work out. And so I used to, from that point forward, I used to start going to the gym. That's when my obsession with going to the gym actually began. And I was so I had my mentality all, focused on the fact that I used to be fat in those middle school years and skinny fat in my high school years, that I always just thought of myself as being bigger than I really was. So when I very first started lifting weights, I actually wasn't doing the correct stuff. And so I used to read the magazines and I used to see the ripped, sexy models and all that stuff. And I wanted to look like them, but I actually wasn't working out like them at all. I was listening to so many different people's advice on how to get your six pack in, 10 days, or how to get, 20 pounds of muscle in two days, or that crazy stuff, like all these crazy eating lifestyles, all those fad diets and everything like that. And I used to try them all the time. And then when it came towards my workouts, I didn't really understand why I was lifting weights the way I was. It was just, hey, these experts, because they wrote an article about it, or they were in the magazine, or they had, the picture of a person with a perfect body with a workout next to it, like in like men's fitness magazines, that type of stuff. So I used to pursue all that all the time. So you would do that for 4 weeks, now stop. Do some other workout for a couple weeks and then stop. So I used to do so many different workouts, and I realized now, back in the day, I didn't really think about that. I thought I was doing exactly what I should have been doing. But now when I go back and think about all that time I spent doing all these exercises, I wasted a lot of my potential. And so I've always been trying to look like that ripped, sexy fitness model. You go on Instagram, for those people who are on Instagram, for instance, you see those photos of people just taking a picture, like, hey, posing, especially the pictures of the girls always, back to the camera, taking a shot of their behind and all that stuff, because, hey, sex sells. And you see that all the time, and it's like I've always been in pursuit of that. But I've accomplished that before, and I'm still trying to seek that. And so I still, even though I've been doing this fitness thing for a while, I still get embarrassed about taking my shirt off. So that's when people go to my website, MrTravelFitness.com, and they see me like that photo of me with me posing and stuff like that. That's not something I would normally share with folks, but I just decided to put that out there, just so people can see it, that, hey, I do practice what I preach. And so even though I practice what I preach, I know what it's like to still struggle, because ever since I took that picture, for instance, I don't look like that 24/7. And I did not want to look like that for 24/7, because I know what it takes for me to look like that 24/7. And it comes from years of me abusing the way I work out. So whether that was me like running lots of miles, or just doing lots of cardio, or me just lifting weights without a real purpose, I didn't develop the type of body I wanted. And that's something a lot of people, I guess, don't understand, is if you're going to get in shape, there has to be a reason for why you're doing stuff. Some people who are out of shape can just do something right away. For someone like me that's been doing it since like 1999, 2000, I wasted a lot of my years. This is something that a lot of people don't know, but I wasted a lot of my years experimenting on myself. So I do a lot of experiments on my body. For instance, the last year, I was basically trying to do something that a person who was a power lifter, if you don't understand what that means, that's okay. It just means you're trying to lift heavy weights. But I was basically doing something that they would do while I was losing weight, just to see if it worked or not. And for my body, for my goals, it did not develop. I can lose weight. Yeah, I can always make a scale go down, but it didn't help my body look the way I want it to look, which is all ripped and everything like that. So if you're a person who like wants their sexy body and all that stuff, you have to make sure that whatever you're going to do helps you get towards that, which is totally different than an athlete. A person who's been training to be a football player, ever since they were in middle school, and then they go to high school and they practice every day, and then they have weight training, and then they have cardio/conditioning for over 10 years of their life. That person's workout plan is going to look a little different than a person who basically, does a 9 to 5. Or in my case, I used to travel all the time. That's something else that, is just astonishing to me, is the fact I used to travel all the time, and no one out there really understood how to get in shape while traveling all the time. And that was my biggest struggle for a long time. And luckily I did figure out, because when I did lose all that weight, I was actually traveling at the time. But there's so many different factors that determine, how you're going to get to where you're going to go. So for me, I wouldn't say I'm still struggling, but I was struggling to just figure out what I needed to do to look like that sexy model and everything like that. And so I decided to stop wasting my time. And I actually put together a program. I wouldn't say I put together a program. I actually went to an expert, and he provided me with a course, provided me with a training. And so I decided, you know what, let me just follow what his advice is. I got 50 million ideas, but let me follow someone else's advice. So that's what I'm doing. So I'll reveal that, the results of all that later on. But I'm still searching for, you know, my perfect sexy fitness body, my action hero body. That's something that I've been pursuing for most of my life. And I kind of denied it for a while. I was doing other things instead of what I really want. And every time I look in that mirror, like every time I sit there and stare at myself in the mirror, I realize that, you know what, the reason I'm looking in the mirror right now is because I want to look good. And that's my real goal, is to look good. Not necessarily to be an athlete, because I'm not an athlete right now. I'm the first to admit, I know everyone who sees me sees how tall I am and assumes I play basketball because the way I'm built. No, I suck at dribbling the ball. I suck at basketball, and I'm not an athlete. I just have the body that looks like an athlete from a distance. But I realized that I would like to look more like a bodybuilder-ish type body without the drugs. And that's something I'm going to pursue for myself and to get towards my goals. Now, if your goal is something else, you just need to make sure that whatever your goal is, that you're actually doing the task, the exercises, or whatever it is that's actually going to make you look like that. Okay. So I got some soup going right now, so I got to stop this video. I don't want to burn the pot. But I appreciate everyone out there listening to it and taking your time to hear a little bit about my struggle, so to speak. If you have your struggle as well, trying to pursue that sexy body, please let me know. You can send me a private message and we can talk about it and all that good stuff. And I can share more embarrassing tales. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of different workouts over the years. And so that's why when me as a fitness coach, or even me as a friend, when I'm talking to folks, I'm trying to figure out what it is they're trying to do. I make sure that they're doing the stuff not because a magazine says it, or not because this athlete or famous actor did that workout. No, I want to make sure that that is what you are doing to get towards your goals, because I don't want people to waste all those years struggling like I did, doing other stuff than what they actually should have been doing. To, you know, if I had done what I should have been doing, I look completely different. Even though I look good, I mean, yeah, I look pretty good right now. I would look even better if I actually followed with a solid plan and just kept up with it. Okay. So Michael V. Moore, aka Mr. Travel Fitness, stay blessed. Next time.